Hi, it's Mild Redskin Songbird in New York City, doing a video, what does it feel like to be homeless? And this video is dedicated to my mother, father, Baba G, Jesus Christ, I, Jesus Christ, Baba Govinda Singh, G. Okay, so this is a homeless book by Michelle Birdsong, the Michelle Birdsong, also known as Mild Red Songbird, also known as Eve Evangeline Einstein, or more. These are some of my past lives. Venus, Aphrodite, Marilyn Monroe. Okay, the name Birdsong is the sacred name of people from the sun, ETs, extraterrestrials from the sun. However, Edwin Birdsong's father was not Reverend Sidney Birdsong. Only Edwin's mother knows who Edwin's real father is. And here's a clue. Knows. K-N-O-W-S. Kin. K-I-N. Hurt. O-W is ow. Hurt. Kin hurt. His mother hurt him. Okay, by not telling him who his real father was. But it says, I didn't finish that. It says, kin hurt. Reputation of Birdsong people. The sun people. Mother trying to pass ape off as light. Truth. Source. Okay. So, the sun people are light. And apparently Edwin's father was an ape, the opposite of light, not light. Okay, let's move right along. Okay, this is a homeless person. This is me, okay, the Michelle Birdsong, and I was living at the woman's shelter at 350 Lafayette. It was like heaven after having lived sleeping on the floor of the Chase Bank ATM, sleeping on the floor with bums and what they call bums in Pennsylvania Station on the floor. I remember when I went there and I had no place to sleep, and I saw these men stretched out, and I said, am I really going to lay down here with these men? And they were asleep and they didn't touch me. And I lay there and I got about an hour's sleep, so I consider that a good thing. Now this is from the video, I Love You Michelle, Yeah Baby. That's the name of a song Edwin wrote about me. And it's on YouTube video Michelle Birdsong channel. And I'll just read what this says. Miss Michelle is a songwriter. This is before I became homeless, obviously. A book writer. A course and curriculum writer for the organization she founded, Mainstreaming Clues to You Project. Okay. And she is a marvel. Alright, now what do we have here? Mainstreaming Clues to the Best Pair of Eyes. Best. What is best? Let's decode that word. I decode words, by the way, and get messages. Best. B. Saint. S-T is saint. Best means to be saint. Okay, and this is at the Women's Shelter, New York City. Now, they moved that shelter to Brooklyn, so it's not there anymore at 350 Lafayette, but it was there, and it was great. Angelina is, she lived in the room next door to me. We had 4 people to a room, And she's reading my book, Sneezy the Greasy, Babysits Abigail. Where am I? Oh, I'm here. Sneezy the Greasy, Babysits Abigail. Okay, I have a copy of it here. It's a children's book, and it's a masterpiece of illustration. You can see what happened. Power off, restart. Okay, it's still going. You can see that it's a masterpiece of illustrations. I mean, you don't see an illustrator this talented every day to put this kind of detail. Let me give you the title. Sneezy the Greasy Babysits Abigail. Okay. My son sing bird song. This is Abigail, my granddaughter, Jandara Ransinger. And this is a combination of babysitters I had. My son, who's a composer, who was Jimi Hendrix. He was Mozart. He was George Gershwin, the classical jazz composer. He was Mozart. I said he was Mozart, right? He was Vangelis, projected, the electronic music genius, the Greek composer. So he has a background in music, and he wrote the most darling song for Sneezy. Sneezy the Greasy, make my tummy queasy. I love that. When I do a movie about Sneezy, I'm going to use that as my theme song. Okay, so there's a video about this song, Sneezy, where you can hear Lyric Wonder, Stevie Wonder's first wife, Sarita's daughter, sing a Mr. Rogers song, It's You I Like. It's you I like. It's not the things you wear. It's not the way you do your hair. But it's you I like. Something like that. And Mr. Rogers sang it to Joan Rivers when she was hosting the Tonight Show, and she blushed. Mr. Rogers was so sincere. Mr. Rogers has been reborn as Seth Ransinger, who is Jandara. Jandara is Abigail on this book, Sneezy, Jandara's brother. And Jandara is my granddaughter, and Seth is my grandson. So it's all in the family. Okay, when you're homeless and you're living in a walk-in center where you sleep in chairs all night, your feet swell. And that's my feet, swollen. Not a pretty sight. And they didn't feel good. And you can have a heart attack like that. And they will not let you put your feet in the chairs. So there's not much you can do but suffer until you get a church bed. Now where I was, Oliveri Drop-In Center, they have churches that volunteers who have beds in the basements with clean bed linen and a meal and a place to shower. It's a godsend. So if you get accepted at Oliveri as a permanent homeless person there, they send you on buses to these church beds. And they have them in Jewish temples, they have them in Episcopalian churches, Lutheran churches. They're wonderful, helpful. And, you give it a chance to refresh. This is probably St. Paul's here. Sing birdsong is my son. It was Jimi Hendrix. He said, let me read this. Sleeping in a chair all night, as I did at Maine Chan's Drop-In Center and at Oliveri's Drop-In Center, causes your feet to swell. As you can see in the photograph above, mine are. This can cause a blood clot. Oh, that's right. It's not a heart attack. It's a blood clot. They do not allow you to put your feet up, which then takes down the swelling. Some women, like Shawneen, take pills, water pills. Point, I won't give up. If you don't quit, you can win, said Sing Birdsong, who was my son, who is my son, who was the Perfect Living Master Sardar Jagat Singh Ji. G for Jesus Christ I. So Sing Birdsong in a past life was a Jesus Christ consciousness master, guru. Okay? Everywhere I went, all the drop-in centers where the church beds were freezing. And someone said it had to do with them not wanting to let germs accumulate. Germs apparently accumulate when it's warm. So I did get pneumonia. And this is my the ID bracelet they gave me at Bellevue, because Bellevue took care of me. I had walking pneumonia. It says, what's it like being homeless? Chase Bank called the cops on me once when I was sleeping on my coat on the floor of one of their ATMs. The cops asked me if I wanted to go to jail or hospital. I chose hospital. The hospital was Bellevue. They put me in the psych ward for a month. I relived the hell of burning alive in a past life in the shirt factory fire. Okay? That happened. Another thing that happened. One night someone shoved me down from behind. My nose was smashed. I was bloody as I struggled to get up with all my belongings. The cops took one look at me and called an ambulance. Bellevue took care of me again. They took me to Bellevue Emergency and they took care of me. Now, what do we have here? Let me just read this. Vanetta and I went. Vanetta was another homeless girl. She was Seventh-day Adventist. She was much younger than I was. Vanetta and I went across the street to the Goodwill. I saw many items I would have bought if I had the money. They get everything for free, but they charge so much for what they paid nothing for. The poorer than the poor can't afford to buy things there. It's the same in San Francisco Goodwill. They think they're Target or Walmart. What should be $2, they charge $4.99. More like $14.99. They give seniors a 10% discount Monday through Friday. San Francisco flagship store on Mission gives 20% discount on Sundays to seniors. The store clerk, a young black woman, said, "I'm with you." This was in New York in Greenwich Village that this happened, when she said, "I'm with you," when I complained that they overcharged for their stuff. She was agreeing with me, but she had no power to change the prices. Generous Americans bring bags of items to these so-called thrift stores every time I'm in one. They give them back nothing except the receipt for tax deductions, I presume. I took Vanetta to a vintage thrift shop. You can get very nice clothes and things on McDougal. They give, what was that called? I hope I put the name in here. They give NYU students a discount, nothing for seniors. I saw seniors come in the store called Monks. Oh, it was called Monks when I was there. I thought of Thelonious Monk, the jazz great. They're very expensive for a store that calls itself a thrift shop. I think the sales clerk said the owner's name is Derek. She said his name so softly I had to ask twice. He said the store was not named after the famous jazz musician Thelonious Monk. Maybe he's a monk, like a priest. A pair of sunglasses cost you $15. They do give you 25% off your next purchase when you bring donations. Some of their items are unique. That's why I like thrift shops. If you're an individual, you can often find something you like in those stores. I find them fun as well. I have a bag of cool clothes to take to Monk's. that are too small for me or that I'm willing to part with. And there's the monk's card. And this is on McDougal in West Village in New York City. Derek's business card is creatively designed, Gestalt-esque. At least he's into his business, making it as good as possible. And he does have loads of cool clothes and things. I took some pictures of these sunglasses. They're very nice. Okay, let's see what's on the next page. What's it like being homeless in New York women's shelter? New York City women's shelter. Oh no, I don't want to read all this. Should I read all this or just tell you the picture? Let me see what I wrote. Mainstream includes to the marginalized. I got beat. Ooh. With part of the tree. She tore off some limbs. Will I, Michelle Birdsong Spear. Limbs. Where's limbs? Limbs. There's limbs. Limbs. L for Will I, Michelle Birdsong Spear. I will be beaten with a limb. On my limb. My arm. Legs are limbs too, right? Swipe. Okay, so with part of the tree, she tore up some limbs, swiped off the leaves, and the sharp part protruding was left. Then she swiped them several times she swiped several at a time across my legs again and again. Then she sent me to Mr. Petrie's store. Isn't that interesting? Mr. Petrie, that was his name, Orrin Petrie. But I think it was spelled Petrie. I was ashamed of my welts on my legs. I was 6 years old when I got beat with the tree limb by my mother. Evidence that I'd been bad. Always in the back of my mind was the knowledge that I was bad because I stayed in her secret room, her womb, even though she tried to get me out. She tried to abort me. I couldn't figure out how I got there where I wasn't wanted in the first place. I could understand why I wouldn't leave the secret room. Where would I go? Where can you go? You can't live undeveloped, or can you? Charan Singh, who was a perfect living master, said there are many souls invisible, without bodies. So you can live undeveloped. And just energy. Unorganized energy. Not organized to be a person. As my second husband, who I now know was a successful abortion of my mother, used to say, between a rock and a hard place. That's where you are when you're in a womb that you're not wanted to be in. If I was a nut in a walnut shell being hammered, heavy metal, a big rock, I would be between a hard shell, a heavy metal hammer, and a rock round underneath, but not underground. I did not. I cracked walnuts with a brick picked out. Oh, I think I'm writing a kind of a poem here. I wrote this some time ago. I picked out the nut meat, sprinkled salt over the nuts and ate them. This is energy. Mine. I took on the energy of nuts, which the society calls crazy. And I sprinkled, and it also means obsessed. He's a jazz nut. It means it doesn't necessarily mean you're crazy. You're a negative crazy. Could be just madly in love with something. And I sprinkle sodium. I took sprinkles of chemicals into my mouth, into my system. Rhymes with cistern. that hole in our backyard that held foul odors. I wonder why other people can eat nuts and not become nuts, or eat cows and not become cowardly, or eat pigs, present I grasshopper, Radhasamy, and not become dirty, or eat chickens and not what? Grasshoppers. John Hopper, my cousin, Lieutenant General John Hopper, flew helicopters in Vietnam. Hopper flew above the grass. That's why he didn't smoke grass then, now called weed. One of Edwin's agents at William Morris, talking Sarah. W Energy Ed. The double of you, which was me, had the energy. Representing Edwin. One of Edwin. That's what one of Edwin's agents at William Morris said. He said Edwin didn't become rich and famous because he smoked dope. Now that I know from my second husband's research, Michael Spear, that there are 400 chemicals in pot, grass, weed, marijuana, it's easy to see that it's hard enough to control your mind, to stay focused on a goal with television and people we've listened to in our minds, then add 400 unknown influences. How could you master Ed? Edwin said, the world is out of control. Michelle and her son's thinking energy is her. Is hers. Michelle and her son's thinking energy is hers. Well, anyway, as far as Edwin saying the world is out of control, obviously he was out of control. That's why he committed adultery and did other things to wreck our partnership. Okay, this is Andrew Walls, W-A-U-L. He was a homeless person at the shelter. That's his curriculum vitae. He did all the, he has character references here, and he got certificates of accomplishment and appreciation, and made the Dean's List and National Dean's List and references. So he was an upstate person. I don't know what happened to him. This is Stanley the Man. I remember what happened to him. His mother was in an abortion clinic, and he kicked her from inside her womb, and she ran out of that abortion clinic. She said, I am not going to abort my baby. Because if women took or did sonograms, they wouldn't abort their babies. Because they would see that the baby is a living thing and it wants to live. Stanley Manley is an excellent intuitive astrologer descended from the Levi tribe of priests. This is Kevin Kite Man. He's all over Facebook and YouTube. He's trying to get young people into flying kites, even for competitive, flying competitively. If you get good enough at it. This is a kite that's set up for Halloween. And he works very, very hard to try and keep the kids from belonging to gangs and getting pregnant and doing all kind of negative things when they could be having fun, getting exercise out there with nature's wind, flying kites. Is that a great idea? Fabulous idea. This is Alexandro. This is at the Oliveri Drop-In Center for the Homeless. He's Hispanic. Let's see. It says humans. Let me go here. He wears cool hats. Okay, where am I? That's my foot. Sorry to go on. There's the finger. There's the finger. There it is. He wears cool hats. Talk and share. He came with us to the Journey Church on PS 41, 11th Street at 6th Avenue. They gave us free movie tickets to new people and their guests. Talk and share. I invited lots of people from the homeless shelter. Maria, Esther, Clarissa, Vanetta, Dawn, Shawnee, Richard, Alexandro, and Jessica came with me. Humans. You become human when you reach, if you reach the eye center. I'll leave the camera on now. Through the help of people. A perfect living master who has already made the journey of the soul. Some peoples want to enjoy the creation while disrespecting, disobeying the Creator. It's like if you allow a guest into your home and they ignore you, eat your food, use your resources without asking, sleep with your spouse, etc. Well, I look at that like the sun. The sun is a supreme beam. It gives us light. And do we respect it? I don't know. I don't think so. We don't pay its air. It's time to pay its air, H-E-I-R, because they're here. His daughter's here. His son is here on the earth. I think you're going to have to pay them for all that the sun has done for you for billions of years. Okay, what do we have here? This is Oliveri again. I also knew him at Main Chance, the other walk-in center, which is hell on earth. They treat you like you're scum. They talk to you. It's horrible. But they make you appreciate. By the time you get to Oliveri, if you get to Oliveris, you appreciate Oliveris. Okay, Pedro's sister. This is Pedro. His sister put a penis into a high-heeled shoe and posted a photo on Facebook. Here it is. I have it in one of my books. I have a picture of it in one of my books. Until you are told you don't know what it is. What it is also an Edwin Birdsong album. Words by Michelle Birdsong. And Edwin's Look by Michelle Birdsong. His hair is plaited. And I sat for hours and plaited his hair. And the rest of the population really liked his hairstyle. Even today, black people wear their hair plaited and modified plaited with extensions and all kind of artsy ways of plaiting their hair. Which it came from my great-grandmother's sitting bull named Ostara Gloria now. Okay. There's a digital version of what it is. I think you can probably get it at Amazon. You can get most things. Now who we have here? We have Michelle, the Aries, and Jose, the Leo, at the drop-in center Oliveri. The photo was by Mary Panama. Jose has now left the stage of homelessness and is living upstate New York. And I say good luck. Okay, here, what do we have? Oliveri's drop-in center, the kitchen. She was so nice. She fed me a lacto-vegetarian well. I'm very grateful. Lovely smile, don't you think? Okay. This is her brother, Wayne Martin. Oh, her name is Jonelle. I caught her off guard. She didn't want me to take a picture. But I got a great picture. Isn't she lovely? She also had a baby. So that's wonderful. That gives you purpose and something to work for. Wayne Martin works out daily, said to me, "You're the only girl in here I'd fuck. You're pretty." Males are visual. It was a nice compliment. I mean, when you're homeless and some guy tells you you're pretty, it feels good. He critiques me. If I look 16, he says, "Hi, teenager," or "Hi, sexy," etc. He's fun. He's crazy about his family. I'm talking about Wayne here. I was flattered, but Babaji showed me fucking without love is boring. Okay. I choose to be celibate until I'm married. I don't care what anybody says. Okay, here. I discovered a new way to play the keyboard. It's fun, it's easy, and the rocket's red glare. Where did I get that from? The bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, I know where I got it from, over here. Rockets. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. Oh, a Christian. Not approved. Haven't yet. Where did I get that from? There's a crown. Haven't yet. I sleep with nobody I'm not married to. However, no, it says I'm a Christian. Not approved, however. Yet I sleep with nobody I'm not married to. It's kind of an awkward sentence, but it's my attitude and conviction. Okay, who do we have here? More homeless people. Stanley and Manley. It says, Stanley and Isabel agree with Michael Bublé and Blake Shelton. They all want to go home. Home is where the heart is. Stanley's the son of Haitian immigrants. Jennifer's American and Chinese. I looked into his eyes. I see his, what's that word? Something. His past was a tiger. He said, "I've been told I look like a cat." I said, "A very big cat. His eyes are hazel. He has white in him." I also was a cat, a tiger, in one of my past lives. My mother was always away with her boyfriend. I was 6 years old. I begged her to bring him home. Home was 212 St. John Street in Clarksville, Tennessee. It was Andoni and Brother Wright's White House. Will Wright. Will Wright. I said his name fast as a child. It sounded like bright. My mother listened to me. One day she brought her boyfriend, Rail Roach, home. He looked like a monster. I was a little child. Too light, according to my mother. For what? Too light? For who? Anyway, I called him Cookie Cookie. Cook Cook. For who? And double U. Ah, yes. I could see everybody's point of view. He was a cook. I didn't know he was a cook. I was intuitive. I was 6 years old, and I intuited that he was a cook. Okay. This is more about me being an empath. And let's see what else, because I've been on here quite a while. You can see this when you know what, I think I'm going to stop this video and make this part 2, because I don't want this to be too long. Okay, it's Miles Redskin, Songbird in New York City. What's it like being homeless, part 1. What's it like being homeless, part 2 is coming up in about 10 minutes. Thank you for listening. I hope you got some insight into what it's like for a young girl, not so young anymore. Well, I mean, it depends. If this is eternity, as I'm told it is, then I am young. Everybody's young. Okay. And it was the Virgin Queen. I just saw this picture. I was the Virgin Queen, Elizabeth I. And this is Tony Robbins. I'm reading his book, Money, Master the Game. Your blueprint to financial freedom. He tells the average person how to understand money, and how to understand how to get money. And it's wonderful. I can hardly put the book down. I'm going to finish it by the weekend. It's so good. If you want to have money, I suggest you buy this book, because Tony Robbins knows how to simplify things, knows how to make complicated things simple. So check it out, okay? And then you won't have to be homeless, and neither will I.